All right. So we will have a look at the minutes of the previous AGM at the moment, and then we'll do the Chairman's report, Treasurer's report, and get on with some nominations and some other business a little bit later on. So the minutes of the 6th of September 2022 were held here, and we have the attendance on file. You've got hard copies in front of you. There was no real significant business apart from my report, of course. It was very significant. And we retain membership fees for 2023 at $10. Would someone who was there like to move those minutes be, thank you, Bernadette, and a seconder for those minutes to be a true and correct record? Someone who was there. Thank you. What was your name, sorry? Kim Zitterich. Thank you, Kim. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. If you have any apologies, we have recorded some apologies. There is an apologies sheet down on the back table. And if you know anyone who did express interest in being here but couldn't make it, please write their names down on that apologies list. Thank you, Jan. Right, let me just get the chairman's report up. One, and there it is. Yeah, I need that, but it's okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. That's all right. We'll go with this for the moment. Okay, you can see that, Bruce, I presume.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Okay. So as I said before, welcome. This is our 25th anniversary of incorporation, and you know, we're very proud. This is a huge moment in the organisation's life to achieve 25 years. I've just come back from another 25-year celebration just recently up in Nepabunna, and the Landcare Association's also 25 years. Something big happened in 1998. There's no question about that. So whether it was coming to the end of that millennium or whatever, but certainly we all needed to set up organisations that could achieve good things for the environment and for people and the planet. So I'd like to start off with a whole heap of thank yous, particularly to Jan on my right here. Jan is a stalwart in this organisation. She was telling us the other day she's been on the committee since day one. So that's an amazing thing to happen. Late last year, early this year, to follow on from Dan. Thank you very much, Karen. The management committee is also made up of Gil Hollenby, who has incredible energy and has been doing a lot of jobs on the committee. The newsletter editor, Jan, also has been doing a lot of work on the graphic design and has been running the newsletter since 1998 and producing how many editions?
Maybe up to 83 or something.
Yeah, 83 editions of a newsletter, which is in high demand. Sarah, who's over in Canada and Mexico at the moment, enjoying the northern summer, has been doing a lot of work for us. Pushpa's been doing the online store management, and that's been really great. She loves doing stuff during the day, doesn't like coming out in evenings, and so she asked me what sort of job she could do during the day, and I said, here's a job, and she does that so well. Special thanks to Bernadette Johnson, who looks after hospitality here and elsewhere. Been a very critical member of our management team. Hi to Lionel. I think Lionel was online, and we thank him for his efforts in keeping the website and other IT management things, and particularly his liaison with our IT people at Click Advertising. Mike Moore, Brian Haywood, Anne Winter have also made significant contributions. And if you look over there, you'll see one of Anne's significant contributions is our 25th anniversary cake. And we also thank Beth Keane for her contribution as public officer over the last quite a few years.
On day one.
Right, day one, okay. We also like to extend special thanks to Sophie Thompson, who continues to support our association as our patron and doing lots of promotion about our organisation. Peter McQuillan and Roger Grund have been significant knowledge gurus for us, and we sincerely thank those members who I don't think anyone's standing down, are they? No, they're not standing down, so I'll skip that one. Governance. So over the last 12 months, we've made a particular effort to pursue our aims and objectives. We've been working on many issues, including development of some significant policies that lead towards good governance. We have had it highlighted by our liability insurer that we needed to have these policies, and so we've responded promptly to that, and I'd like to especially thank Karen for her considerable work on these policies. The Management Committee is also reviewing the way we manage our membership database and interaction with members. We're very conscious of the importance of maintaining and developing our membership base in these difficult times following COVID. As you'll be aware, we are a deductible gift recipient organisation, and we have charity status. And so there are some governance issues associated with that, but it also gives us an opportunity to really cement our future project funding by having an opportunity for people to actually donate to our fund. So the fund is now just over $6,500. And we certainly encourage members and their friends to donate to this fund. And if you know of a potential benefactor, we'd really like you to advise our committee. So we want to raise more funds using this facility, which will be used for conservation projects. So the 2022-2023 financial year has been another very rewarding one for the association, and Karen will go into that in a little bit more detail in her report. But we certainly continue to punch way above our weight, considering that we're all volunteers. We have an enormous education and information resource that we're able to provide to our members and the wider community. Our sales of our two Keystone books have continued to be strong, with our butterfly book, Attracting Butterflies to Your Garden by Hunt, Grund, Keane and Forrest, sold 278 copies this financial year. And over the 7 years since the second edition was published in 2016, we've distributed 2,457 copies. So we have a current stock of 1,543. So we now start to think, okay, in 5 years' time, we need to do third edition or something like that. So that's that 2016 edition was fully funded by the association. So we know that we don't have to go and chase funds to do that, but for projects, we certainly want to. Our moth book, Caterpillars, Moths and the Plants of Southern Australia by McQuillan, Forrest, Keane and Grund, has also been well received right across Australia. And this financial year, we sold 174 copies and have distributed 1,441 copies since its publication in December, including many copies to local and interstate bookshops and organisations. We have nearly 30 retail outlets we're putting that book into, especially with the work that Sarah McDonald's been doing. So our association has many ways of pursuing its aims and objectives, and the continued successful distribution of these books recommended by many experts such as Sophie, James and other groups like Bringing Back the Butterflies is really able to do this. And they distribute this book and sell them across the retail outlets, as I mentioned. Online sales are also really important. Last financial year, we brought in $4,436 on the online sales with 124 orders placed, which included some memberships, so make it easy for people to actually pay their membership. Our biggest month is October as we head into spring, so we really need to focus on how do we get that message across to people to make sure that they know we're there as they're starting to see the flowers bloom and butterflies flying. The membership book combos are very popular, and we often see members just come to us for 1 year and then move off. And so that's not such a bad thing, but we'd like to retain those members. So with our newsletter and public talks, our very hardworking newsletter editor has continued to deliver a high quality quarterly newsletter for our membership. We thank Jan for this significant effort and Konica Minolta for their support in printing the hard copies. Jan has also consistently delivered the very enlightening public talks program, especially this 13th year. And this gives us the opportunity to mix the face-to-face with Zoom to give our speakers a wide opportunity to actually broadcast their expertise. Our final talk later this year will be a special ticketed event celebrating our 25th anniversary with Professor Bob Hill. So I hope you'll be able to see that link soon, and we'll start doing the catering for that. Just want to talk a little bit about membership. Increasing and retaining the membership of the Butterfly Conservation SA is a significant goal of our committee, and we certainly appreciate the work that Gil Hollenby has been doing in welcoming new members. And recently, Karen and Gil have been really cleaning up our database, making sure that we understand who is financial and who isn't. We're pleased to say that our organisation has grown significantly over the last 25 years, but COVID has affected us. And I'd just like to share with you a few statistics. In July 2021 and July 2022, July 2023, I've got a column there of figures, and you'll see that suddenly we've had a big spike of unfinancial members. And this is something that we're working really hard at to try and work out why this has happened, and try and encourage those unfinancial members to join. We'll waive the lost fee from this year, but we really want them to continue our membership, their membership next year. Because of COVID, we were unable to actually extend more than 1 year of membership online because the service provider considered that a lot of organisations had the potential to fail during COVID. And so that led to quite a drop-off in the numbers of multiples that we saw of people paying 2 years, 3 years, or whatever. But we've consistently had a high number of people who have paid for life membership, and regrettably we've just dropped recently in our honorary life membership in that David Keane passed away, and so we now have Jan and Roger as our life members, but we are recommending to you the membership that we actually honour quite a few long-standing members with life membership. So at the moment, our financial membership has dropped to 205, and we saw 69 new members this year. So, as I mentioned, the Treasurer and Membership Secretary are working on contacting all those unfinancial members, and we'll hopefully get a blip of increased membership next year. So for the future, as you know, we had an incredible collaboration with environmental groups in defending Myrna Wirra, Park 17, Park 21, whatever it was, 21 West, from the Horses of the Mounted Police Unit. And that gave us quite a strong opportunity to work with Conservation Council, Trees for Life, Nature Conservation, and several other groups to actually say, no, you can't just go and put tarmac, whatever, on our South Parklands and destroy habitat. It's hard enough retaining habitat without having development on precious parklands. So we would have lost at least one population of Leucia lymbaria, as well as many other species, I'm sure. So that was a great opportunity for us to actually really push hard on the fact that as a community group, we can stand up for nature. Many of you will know of my passion for bringing science, technology, engineering, art, and maths together. And we've been successful, we were successful in getting a significant grant from the City of Adelaide for the City of Adelaide Career Tech City Challenge. And we did a nature festival event in October last year. And so that work with Rosina Possingham and the extensive team we had, including Kathleen at the front here, thank you, Kathleen, was really great. It really broadened the capture and diversity of members that we were able, and people were able to share the love for butterflies. And I'm very pleased to say that the Green Adelaide Grassroots Grant we've just won of $27,000 will embark on what we call a Herding Caterpillars Festival, which will start in this year's Nature Festival and culminate in August next year with the National Science Week event at the Adelaide Botanic Gardens. So we've got lots of things to do in promoting that, because it's just so exciting to show to people, including the Premier at Science Alive just a few weeks ago, this incredible mutual symbiosis that happens between different species, in this case, ants and butterflies. Yeah, yeah. So we've got lots of other projects that have been funded by the Management Committee recently, including some genetic typing of moths by Mike Moore, the short film for the Nature Festival inaugural film event on the Leucia lymbaria. Jan is working with Peter McMillan on the Caterpillar app, which was also funded by Green Adelaide. We're also trying to develop shared partnerships with the Ferox Australis, which is the Uni SA and graduates, and the Bringing Back the Butterflies on Butterfly Friendly Gardens. We've also had a really interesting partnership with Burnside Council up in Beaumont Common, and I thank Greg Coote and Jennifer Gardner for all their work there. So it's truly amazing to see the many and varied inquiries that we receive by email, Facebook, or on the phone. The community wants to know and be connected with butterflies. So we can actually show that off to all different stakeholders throughout our state. It's very heartening to receive the thanks and accolades from organisations and individuals that we help or involve in collaborative projects. We don't have boundless energy, but we certainly can give our best, and your membership of the Butterfly Conservation SA is most appreciated. I advised you last year that this was my last term as chairperson, but we're still looking for someone with fresh eyes and energy to take on the role. I've been ably mentored by Mike and Jan over the last 5 years and will certainly be there for a new leader. It's a very interesting, challenging and stimulating role where you can make your own footprint and benefit our society. So there are many other opportunities for members and friends to get involved and connect with nature. So please be involved. So many thanks. Thank you. I won't toggle back to the, would someone like to move and second my report? I'm happy to move my report. Someone like to second it? Yep, thank you very much. Alan Burns. Thank you. All right, I would like to welcome Karen to give us the Treasurer's report.
So, yeah, pretty much got that there. And I think there's a hard copy that has the detailed profit and loss report and balance sheet reports. They've all got the hard copy. Yeah, that's you get the table at the back if you don't have one. So the surplus this financial year of $8,735 is an improvement on last year. It's $4,188 better than the year before, which is a good sign. Membership revenue, even though memberships have declined, we've still got revenue of 2,620, which is just a smidge more than last year, so that's all right. Selling of books and other merchandise, the gross profit, so the sales less the cost of the books, brought us in just under $8,000. Not quite as good as the previous year, but I'm sure that'll sort of come and go a little each year as different activities are on. We received donations of $791, and if you look at the reports, you'll see that there's a. Oh, sorry, am I too quiet? Sorry. There was a large amount transferred to the Conservation Fund this year because the previous year's money of $3,900 also went across in this financial year. So we've paid a large sum into the Conservation Fund. We've also got some subsidies and grants of $6,000. And we've also got some other ongoing grants. So, yeah. The Herding Caterpillars in 3D project has got $4,217 still to be spent in that one or available to spend. And the What Caterpillar app that Jan's involved with has got $10,211 still available for developing that project. Yeah, any questions? Funny, we're good.
I'll just make one comment about the Herding Caterpillars in 3D project. So we actually acquitted the full $65,000 grant from the City of Adelaide, Createch grant. And then because we had an opportunity to do some more work, we went out to the City of Adelaide and said, could we have some more? And they gave us another $5,000.
Oh.
Five.
Oh.
$5,000. But in addition, we also had some income from the sale of T-shirts, from the entry fees into the 3D, the VR experience. So that's actually surplus money that we're actually working with to actually keep doing, encouraging artists, potentially doing a book, all these sorts of things.
Okay. No questions? I'll move that the report be accepted.
Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Kathleen. Kathleen Petitsis. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much, Karen. I'd like to extend. All right. Now, did you want to speak to the membership fee increase? I'll speak to it. Yeah, okay. All right. So we have decided, and it may seem a funny way of getting around to trying to get more members, but we have decided as a committee that it's about time we did increase our membership. So it's been $10 since 1998. So for 25 years. So we are recommending to you the membership that the membership fee for the 2024 calendar year shall be $20 for all members who receive an email membership, with a supplementary $10 for those members who wish to receive a posted newsletter. Did you want to move? Moved by Karen Rodder, seconder. Gil Hollenby. Any discussion? So all those in favour? Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that overwhelming support. Did I? Yeah, I just wanted to check. Wanted to check with the Zoom crowd. Did you hear that and see that, and were you okay with that? Thank you very much, Bruce. Could I have a thumbs up or a thumbs down from the other Zoom participants? I'll take the silence as being approval. Thank you. All right. We have also recommended that the paid life member fee for the 2024 calendar year shall be $300. That's up from $200. So obviously we all know cost of living pressures and that sort of thing, but we anticipate that people will get good value from that. So would you like to move that again, Karen? Yeah. So moved by Karen Rodder, second. Thank you, Gil. Gil Hollenby, seconded. Any discussion? Yes.
Financial.
Okay, we have quite a lot of opportunity to do project support from our administration funds as well as run the organisation. We've started to incur some additional costs with insurance, which is much more than the previous insurance through Green Adelaide, which has been the minimalist volunteer insurance. So we had increased our administration costs. So we felt it was necessary to try and pull back some of those costs, which are direct benefits to members. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. All those in favour? Thank you very much for your support on that. Okay. We've got a recommendation from the Committee for Honorary Life Membership. We would like to recommend to the membership that the following people are awarded life membership for their many years of service. Mike Moore, Gil Hollenby, Brian Hayward, Jill Davey, Margaret Lee, Chris and Karen Lane, and Judith Lydia Moore. Could I have a mover for those? Thank you. Anne Frodsham. Could I have a seconder? Thank you, Bernadette. All those in favour? Thank you. So we intend to present these people with their honorary life membership certificates and announce the photographic competition winners and presentation of prizes at that November event. Okay, so without further ado, I'd just like to declare the positions on the committee vacant. And as I'm not standing as chairman, I'll still stay in the chair for the nomination process, if that's okay with you. So we have nominations for secretary from Alex Coombe. Would you like to just stand up, Alex? Alex. Alex came to us after we started advertising earlier this year and said he was interested in making a contribution, and has attended a couple of our meetings and likes what he sees. So we're very pleased that he likes what he sees, and we're going to work very closely with Alex to continue the work that Karen's been doing on the policies and the great work that Jan's been doing in keeping the secretary role effective. So are there any other nominations for secretary? No? Well, in that case, I declare Alex elected. Thank you. So as I mentioned before, currently there's no nomination for president, but I will go back. I'm sorry, I skipped this. Are there any nominations from the floor for chairman? It's really chairman, not president.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. No. Okay. Well, we have been doing a lot of work out there in the community trying to find an appropriate person. We've had a couple of expressions of interest, but we need some arm tugging or whatever it will take to actually convince them to come on to the committee in one case or step up. So we'll keep working on that. We've got a management meeting on the 19th of September where we'll discuss where we go from there. So at the moment, we don't have a nomination for treasurer. Are there any nominations from the floor for treasurer? Karen has declined to continue in the interim role that she took on, but she has agreed to mentor an incoming person. Xero is quite a relatively easy accounting package to work with. And so long as someone just takes the time to make sure reconciliations happen and communications with membership secretary and with the signatories, then it's quite a fulfilling role. But the amount of work that Karen has just done over this last 6 months, 9 months really has been quite mind-boggling to actually get it into shape for someone to take on. So if you know someone who's inclined to want to look after books, that'd be really great if you could pass them our way. So we've got quite a few nominations for committee, and so I'll just read them out. They've all been moved and seconded. So Mike Moore has been moved by Jan Forrest and Jill Davey. Brian Hayward, Jan Forrest, Jill Davey. Gil Hollenby, moved by himself and Sarah McDonald, second. Lionel Edwards, not self-nominated, seconded by Jan Forrest. Anne Winter, moved by Jan Forrest, seconded by myself. Jan Forrest, moved by Jill Davey, seconded by myself. Mike Moore, got him down twice. Peter McQuillan, moved by Jan Forrest, seconded by Jill Davey. Bernadette Johnson, moved by David Booth, seconded by Jan Forrest. Sarah McDonald, moved by herself and seconded by Jan Forrest. Myself, moved by Jan Forrest and seconded by Jill Davey. Are there any further nominations for secretary from the floor? Sorry, for committee from the floor? Okay. Could I have your acclamation then that those people are elected to the committee? As we mentioned earlier, with the deductible gift recipient status, we have a butterfly fund. It's called the Butterfly Conservation Fund, and so we have to have an independent committee. They need to be responsible persons, and there's a whole definition of what a responsible person is. And the previous incumbents have been John Wilson, Mike Moore, and Jan Forrest. Those three persons are prepared to continue in that role. John was nominated by Jill Davey, seconded by Jan. Mike Moore was nominated by John Wilson, seconded by Jan. And Jan was nominated by John Wilson, seconded by Jill Davey. That's the way it is. So with your acclamation, I'd like you to approve them as the Butterfly Conservation Fund Committee. And our final role that we are going to receive the nominations for is the public officer. So John Wilson has agreed to be the public officer, nominated by Jan and seconded by myself. All those in favour of John being our public officer? Thank you. And at the moment, we have a requirement in our constitution for an auditor, and our nominee is Tim Major of Lee Green, and we have outstanding audits for the last 2 financial years and this financial year that we are doing this AGM for. It's one of the difficulties of a small organisation to actually pay for an auditor. In this case, Tim has agreed to do it voluntarily, but we're finding it difficult to actually pin him down to actually do these audits. So committee has had some discussion, and we'll bring this back to the membership at an extraordinary meeting about the opportunity for us to actually remove the requirement for a yearly mandated audit because we are below the turnover of prescribed organisations, which is $500,000 a year. So when you consider if we had to go out and find an auditor, $5,000 to $10,000 would be the sort of figure you'd be looking for, pay in order to even look at our finances where we have turnover in the less than $100,000. So it's really quite a burden that we don't need to have. But it's notwithstanding that, you know, it's important to audit, and that's why it's important to have good governance, and that's what we're working around the other way. So watch this space on that. Karen and I will nevertheless get in touch with Tim if you agree for him to be the auditor. So I would certainly like to move that Tim Major be approached to be our auditor for this financial year just gone and the previous 2, so we get them all tidied up. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Karen. All those in favour? Thank you. All right, so that concludes all the nominations and governance business. Sorry that's taken a little bit longer than I had hoped. So there's no other business that we have put on the agenda. Is there any outstanding urgent business that you would like to bring to our attention before I close the agenda and invite our guest speaker to talk? Okay, thank you very much.